Hello again, it's Garson, and today I'm pretty excited because not only were you on the stress test, we're trying out the new subclasses, but I knew I was going to like the new Arcane Archer. I was just hoping Larian would deliver, and lo and behold, they have, right? Now, if you like spell bows, if you like attacking and spellcasting, similar to like a spellblade, you need to pay attention. This is an awesome new subclass that I think people aren't giving a lot of credit to because, watch this. There we go. So we can do some tons of damage, as an archer usually can, but we can apply an effect like a spell can, and with the new Glamour Bard, I think people need to give this a lot of respect too. Well, check this out. Guaranteed skip his turn. We can even mock him for that, laugh at him. So Cuthbert is going to lose his turn entirely because of that combo right there. But also, we can send people to the Shadow Realm. And now he's banished, so Arncern, he's gone for 2 turns. We skipped him completely, and then we even have a blinding arrow on Murphy over here. Stop throwing rocks at us, Murphy. So now he's blinded. I'll use my dashing boots, get behind some cover over here. There we go. I bet we'll come over here. Alright, so now Murphy's going to throw some rocks at us or jump down here. Yep, so he's blinded. He's going to throw, but he's big in accuracy because he's blinded. Alright. So accuracy, being blinded, has a defensive value, but also an offensive value. I now have advantage against him, see? So if I have advantage and I know my shot's good, even with sharpshooter, I'm going to go ahead, use Humanoid Slayer, and guaranteed double damage. Kaboom. Big damage on him, right? And then now we've made fun of you, Cuthbert. What we're going to do is use a piercing shot. I don't want to shoot them or the chickens, okay? So what I'll do is just get a seeking arrow, even if an object was in front of me. Check it out. Here we go. If my shot couldn't get him through the straight like line, what I can do is use a seeking arrow and bend around the corner like a magic missile. There we go. All right. And then what's this? All your allies are dead. It's just you and me. So he comes back from the Shadow Realm. And remember, as a fighter at level 11, you get 3 shots. So I can go 1, and I can 2, and I don't even need the 3rd one. So Arcane Archer, a spell bow, a literal spellcaster, and an archer rolled into one. I think you're really going to like this subclass. I'm excited about patch 8, but this is something I knew I was going to really love. All right, so let's pop out the notes like always. As always, a big thank you to you guys. The reason I have access to the stress test to show you cool stuff like this, get you hyped up, is because one of you guys was nice enough, thank you Sunder, for giving me access with an extra code. I hope you guys get into the stress test, and I hope we get more, I hope the patch just rolls out soon for everybody, all right? Because you're going to love a lot of these new subclasses, and I'm going to show you the power of Arcane Archer. What's going to help is if you want to kind of skip ahead, I'm going to explain why it's so powerful in detail, or if you just want to know what to look for, what makes Arcane Archer so powerful, what to actually grab on your build, or if you want to see a complete build with this character right here on Gale, I'll break it down for you. But for first, as always, thank you. If you want to support the channel, we'll talk about it at the end of the video. Just keep watching, just keep enjoying. I'm going to keep on delivering, all right? So Arcane Archer, what makes it so powerful? So let's talk about patch 8 super quick. It is subject to change. As always, what I have to do is go top left, boop, patch 8 stress test. So this isn't finalized. Don't get too comfy. Like, I really hope this doesn't change, but don't get too comfy with what you're seeing here. I doubt that it is going to change, but it is subject to change, right? But what we got is new subclasses for every class. This is the new Fighter Subclass. It focuses on range damage, obviously, but also spellcasting. And this is the stress test, so there might be some bugs or changes. Hopefully we can fix them, and we can get the patch out for everybody, right? But yeah, please ask your questions. I don't have a grab bag today like the past couple videos, so if you have any ideas or questions about the new subclasses or new spells and features and stuff, just ask. I'll answer in the comments. But I'd love for you to check out the live stream, because Arcane Archer, as well as 3 new subclasses, I'm playing a full honor run for you guys on the stream to test them out and see how they perform through the actual game. Is it as good as I think it is? All right, so let's actually break down some stuff with Arcane Archer. The nitty gritty with the new subclass, obviously, as a fighter, got to go to level 3. Okay, and you're giving up the other subclasses, but you do get 4 feats as a fighter if you go all the way to level 12. Okay, you do get your double extra attack, your improved extra attack at level 11, so that's why I'm able to shoot 3 times as a fighter. you gain arcane arrows. So you'll get this arcane arrow short rest resource. They come back on short rest, as you can see here. We'll just short rest. Now I'm back to 6. That's pretty baller. But you get 4 at the start. So if you just want to multi-class into this, you at least get 4, and they come back on short rest. And I got to tell you, when I was previewing this subclass with the others back in December, this was a big problem. There's only 2, and they don't come back on short rest. So kudos to Larian. This was the big improvement this really needed, okay? You even get 5 at level 7 and 6 at level 10. And again, they come back on short rest. This is crazy. I'm going to explain why in a minute. But you get to learn these cool different shots. This isn't all of them. I'm not going to break down all of them for you. I just have some key highlights. But they can do things like add damage and a special spell effect, okay? They can bend around corners and always hit their target and even make it easier for your allies to hit. They can do things like lightning bolt or barrage. You can shoot a whole area or in a line and do a lot of damage with your weapon attack and hitting a lot of targets, right? So there's a variety of shots, and I gotta say, it's not just needless variety, but really useful variety you can build around, okay? All available at level 3, so you don't have to go into level 10 to get to some special shot. They're all available, and you can choose and replace them as you level up. If you're first time Arcane Archer, you can kind of experiment with them, right? As you level up. And you learn more as you level up too. That's why I'm able to learn 5 rather than the 3 I started out with, okay? So when you use an arcane arrow, just know you do weapon damage. You might actually do extra damage like the psychic damage, and you get unique spell effects, okay? So this is the key component to why Arcane Archer is really powerful, because you're doing damage while spellcasting, okay? You use dex for your accuracy. Just like always, just focus on dexterity weapons. Ranged weapons are always using dexterity to attack, so you'll do your piercing damage or whatnot. Okay, anything you can do to enhance the accuracy and attack damage for that. But you'll also use your intelligence stat in order to use these spell effects. So what I'm referring to is this wisdom save here will be referred to as Gale's dexterity or intelligence saving throw. So I'll use my intelligence against the opponent's wisdom saving throw stat, okay? So why is it so powerful? This is going to be a large breakdown, so bear with me. Skip ahead if you just want to see the build. That's a-okay with me. But if you want to know why I think it's so powerful, and we're seeing this in the stream, even at level 3, we've already seen some really cool stuff. Here's why. First off, range is already powerful. I'm not going to over-explain this stuff, but you're ranged. Duh. You can attack from 60 feet away. That's obviously an advantage, right? But dexterity is also an amazing stat. To keep it simple, you get defensive armor class, you get defense from spells through your saving throws, you get the ability to sneak around or stealth or avoid being pushed and shoved, okay? And you get initiative, okay? Initiative is super important. If I go first, I can be offensive or defensive, but I get to choose first what to do in a turn. And finally, of course, you get accuracy and damage with your ranged weapons. So dexterity is super powerful. Sharpshooter is a feat tons of people get on their archers. It's what makes archery so powerful in general. But you get a plus 10 damage, flat damage added to your shots, but you must take an accuracy penalty. So this is a feat a lot of people choose, and as a fighter, we can choose 4 feats if we go all the way to level 12. You also get special arrows. I'm not talking about the Arcane Archer arrows. I'm talking about the general slayers or many targets. All this stuff is really good stuff. We won't cover here, but just know, even if you ran out of arcane arrows, you could just use your ammo and vice versa, okay? So, piercing damage can be doubled. I won't get into how. At Act 3, there is a piece of armor where you can double piercing damage, and it's just generally good because of the arrow types and whatnot. So, you may run into a lot of resistances, but there's kind of ways to avoid it and deal with it. Like, the reason a lot of targets even have the resistance in general is because of how good range damage is. In the higher difficulties, that's also true. Okay, so fighters. Fighters have a fighting style, so you can choose archery right off the bat at level 1. So your arcane arrows will actually hit, which is really good, okay? So we start off really strong, especially with any weapon you can think of, any armor you can think of, super strong, okay? So with the... yeah, you can choose medium armors, heavy armors, cloth, whatever you want, and any kind of bow type, and you're proficient with it, which really helps with your accuracy. and then creating damage, right? 3 attacks, natty. Okay, so when you're fighter, you go at level 5 like most weapon attackers, marshals we call them, right? You'll get an extra attack. So when you use your action, and this is doubly important in honor mode, your first action used in honor mode, the lower difficulties, any action, you'll actually get 2 attacks rather than 1. So when I attacked with this, you saw that it glowed and highlighted it. So I only get to use 1 action, but I get to use 2 attacks. That's very important for marshals or weapon fighters, right? But fighters at level 11 obviously get triple attack, which can really ramp things up. And when you action surge, even in honor mode, you can get another 3 attacks for 1 action. This is kind of wild. Speaking of that, surge is insanely good, right? I think a lot of people playing this game, and especially anyone who's dipped into fighter 2 levels, action surge is super powerful. You can really burst things down thanks to this, okay? And then there's the 4 feats. So you can get a lot of stats if you want to, like dex and int almost to 20 here. You can get sharpshooter, and you can get something like alert or whatnot. I mean, you can just do a lot with 4 feats, and the more you understand how powerful feats are, the more you really appreciate fighter, in my opinion. But this is not battle master. If I could make this really general assumption of what makes it different, battle masters are good at both melee weapons and ranged weapons, just weapon usage in general. They're more self-enhancement, or kind of like controlling the battlefield by running up there and using like a tripping attack, or making sure an attack hits because they have precision attack, and so on and so forth, right? They're more enhancers rather than spellcasters mixed in with a bowcaster, right? And they can do melee all their stuff kind of applies to melee weapons as well. They get unique abilities like riposte, and they use their like short rest resource, the Battlemaster dice, to add more damage on top, kind of like what we're doing here, but it's different effects. They really make a difference if you really looked at a fine, examination between them. But just hold my, trust me at this. And of course, they just add the weapon damage. This piercing damage would go up with that superiority dice. Whereas these arrows have very specific effects and damage additions, okay? So it's also, Arcane Archer is not a swords bard. Now, swords bard is a caster, like a real caster with spell slots and spells, okay? And it is an archer, like, people love running swords bard, ironically not for swords, but for, crossbows, twin crossbows. But because of the flourish attack, again, a short rest resource with the bardic inspiration, right? People like to run their swords bard as an archer to just burst things down, because they can get effectively 2 attacks with their bardic inspiration. So if you had 2 attacks already, those 2 attacks would evolve into 4 attacks, but you run out of the resources really quick that way. But you can kill things really fast, right? And also as a caster, you're choosing, do I want to cast hold person and then I'll shoot them? Or do I want to cast a spell and then I'll shoot them, or I'll shoot them and then I'll cast a spell? Here we're doing both. We're a spell bow. We literally do spells and bow damage, okay? So we're doing damage and we're casting a spell. We're getting a real 2-for-1, and it really ramps up thanks to fighters' flexibility and customizability, okay? Fighters have already been known as probably some of the best archers already, even if you just kill pure 12 levels. But now we'll enhance it with arcane shots, okay? So arcane shots are what you learn across your time as a fighter, arcane archer, and it's what you're going to use your arcane arrow resource on, right? And here's a few examples, and I picked these ones because I feel they really highlight the strengths of this subclass, okay? So they come back on short rest, the arrows do. They're spell slots, kind of. You can think of this as your spell slots. What's great is, unlike other spell slots, you get a lot of them the more you invest into this, just like a regular caster. But unlike them, you come back on short rest. And unlike them, you're doing arrow damage on top of your spell effects, okay? And there's a lot of useful variety, not needless, but useful. Like I showed you, blind can really control how weapon attackers attack your team, but it also gives you offensive advantage with literal advantage on your attacks, right? Beguile can be used with the new Shadowheart. She's a freaking glamour bard, I can't remember, but yeah, when you have someone charmed, you're guaranteed to get this command effect to go off. And if you don't know how powerful command is, I definitely implore you to try it out, but maybe try out glamour bard to see how powerful it is. You can do cool effects like halt, which completely skips their turn, drop their weapon, which neuters them completely, right? Or grovel, so they go prone and you get advantage on attacks against them. Super powerful. I'm really going to talk about glamour bard in another video, okay? So You're also able to do things like seek out targets, bend around corners and stuff. So tons of good variety there. And you don't waste this ammo if you don't land the shot. It doesn't mean if you don't land the effect, you don't waste the ammo. It just means if you don't land your normal attack, you know, accuracy, you're not wasting any of this. So you'll always get your chance to get the spell effect off if you land your target. Okay, you're not guaranteed to cause the effects though, and that's why you must also think of yourself as a spellcaster when you build your character. Your spell modifier is literally intelligence. Okay, so intelligence is going to raise your spell save DC. Okay, which sadly it's really annoying that we can't see this, but I'll break it down for you. Basically, you're going to get better odds because you're going to match up your intelligence against whatever the effect has for a saving throw. Okay, so Cuthbert here, he had really bad wisdom saving throws, and I have really high spellcasting or intelligence, and if I match the two up that way, I'm always going to land these effects like I want, okay? But it's annoying you can't really see it, and I really wouldn't trust these tooltips when you hover over them and they go, oh yeah, you have like a 22 saving class, that one's correct, but sometimes these are a little off, like 17, but this one's 22. What's going on here? What's going on here is you want to add your proficiency, okay? So whatever your proficiency is, here we go, we'll move Cuthbert over here. Okay, so I have a proficiency at this level of +4. You also have a base of 8 no matter what, so that's already 12. And then you'll add your intelligence modifier. So just cheat sheet right here, hover over it, and it'll tell you this +4, okay? So a +4 plus the proficiency plus the 8. So I currently have like a 16, okay? But I can also enhance it in other ways like pieces of gear, like the Devout and Rhapsody and whatnot. So I can really boost this chance to hit almost guaranteed. So I hit with my arrow, and then I use spell save DC to enhance and make sure these effects also go off. Okay, now there are some damaging type arrows, not just, you know, spell type arrows, right? So piercing arrow is a real highlight because, again, it's almost like a better barrage. You get it at level 3, for instance, it's going to hit everybody, including your allies in this track, okay? Unlike lightning bolt, it doesn't go as far, but it kind of has the same like width and you know, effect as a lightning bolt. It just does piercing damage, which is really cool because it does your weapon damage while doing, you know, hitting everybody in this line, plus a little bonus extra damage, and it only costs 1 shot. That's ridiculous. All of these arrows just cost 1 shot. So you can do a lot of these, especially if you have 3 attacks. Now, sadly, for piercing arrow, for those who wanted to know, this does not apply sharpshooter benefit. I know it says it does, but apparently it doesn't. Maybe that's changed. Maybe I got it wrong. We'll figure it out. I'll keep testing it. Just don't get your hopes up too much, but it's technically a better barrage because unlike rangers, you're going to get this at level 3, and then it just becomes better and better because it's only 1 shot, doesn't cost a bonus action, but I'll get off that topic for now. What I really care about, and what I think a lot of people don't consider, is team synergy. So Beguile is really powerful. Like, I tried to show that off first because what you're going to be able to do is your weapon damage, as long as you hit the target, you get the additional 2d6 psychic damage, okay? And psychic is a whole nother topic I'll get into, but you also get the charmed effect. Now, charm means they're not going to attack you, which is great, okay? But if you knew what you were doing on a team and you comboed it with Majesty Command, which targets that are charmed automatically fail the saving throw, which means you're guaranteed to get these command effects like Halt. That's how Cuthbert couldn't stop me, okay? So as long as my Arcane Archer lands the shot, does the damage, and causes that effect, I can now halt him for a whole turn, skipping his entire turn or whatever hell I want him to do, right? What about blind and attack rolls? Well, blind actually helps me. I could turn this off because sharpshooter does give me a lot more damage, but it also a lot less accuracy. So if I blind the target and I'm able to reliably get the blind with the weapon damage and everything, I now have advantage on the guy, and I can turn this back on and really slam him with a lot of damage. Plus, my whole team benefits from that character being blinded. They are less likely to hit me because they have disadvantage, they're blind. They have to get into melee range to even attack us, and we all get advantage against them. So, crazy good utility for your team. Banish, okay, maybe you've never used Banish, but when I banished Aronson here, he's gone for like a turn and a half, basically 2 turns, right? So banishing someone, what's great about it is it completely skips their turn. Now you can't attack them, but you already did damage to them. You've sent them to the Shadow Realm. They're gone for 2 turns, and you can really help control the battlefield, keep you and your allies safe with that, right? And I gotta tell you, the thing is, this is a charisma save. A lot of enemies in Honor Mode and Tactician just don't have charisma saves, okay? Right here, Cuthbert, if you can see it, let me scroll it over just a little bit more. Okay, he has a very weak charisma saving throw. So most enemies are always just banished, okay? Even if you don't have the highest spell save DC. So at early level, this is actually very incredible, and it's way less costly than the real banish spell, which you don't get for much later anyway. Okay, Seeking always hits, so what's great about this in team synergy is that you're going to do a little force damage. Like a magic missile, it's always going to hit the target, but it possibly applies fairy fire. So you'll always get the land the shot, and you'll get a chance at giving advantage to your allies, kind of like blind, but this just gives advantage, right? And they can't go invisible on you, so this could help against like Dwergars or whatnot. So this is awesome for bending around corners, hitting a hard target, and also giving your team more accuracy against the target, sort of like Guiding Bolt. Okay, so Arcane Acuity. Arcane Acuity is going to raise the odds of getting those spell effects. Okay, so I'm not wearing it right now, but what I'll do is actually reload it, and I'll kind of give you an example of why this is so important. Arcane Acuity, if you can get one of the helmets and you get the effects right, the easiest one is a helmet where if you're attacking with a weapon, which you are, right, you can just shoot off regular shots and raise your spellcasting modifier, okay? So let's see if we can actually demonstrate this in real time. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. All right, so I'm gonna whip out the Arcane Acuity helmet. Where is it? So this guy right here, whenever you deal damage, you get 2 turns of Arcane Acuity, thus raising your spell save DC. I really wish I could show it to you, but it'll tell me, oh yeah, this and that, sure. Cool. Right now, I would project that it's about, well, let's just see what the chances are with the arrow. Doesn't even tell me that. Okay. Let's use good old blinding arrow as a test. So right now it says I only have 14 saving throw bonus. I wouldn't trust this, but let's see if it raises on attack. Okay. So we get into some trouble. Cool. Okay. So I have 1 Arcane Acuity. It's now saying 15. So 1 turn of this will give me 1 extra spellcasting modifier, okay? If I do another weapon attack, I'll get 2 more stacks. Boom. Now I have 3. Now the tooltip says I have 17, okay? And so on and so forth. Okay, now I'm up to 5 stacks. I now have 20, okay? So you can really see the ramp up potential. If you really need to land one of these powerful effects, you can use that and get a more guaranteed effect, okay? So that's the power of Arcane Acuity. Now I'm gonna reload. Now, what else do you want to use? Since you're already using intelligence, right, why not make it do more damage on your attacks as well, right? So if you're not too confident about getting those spell effects to go off and your intelligence isn't high yet, look for Arcane Acuity. Conversely, you're going to want Arcane Synergy. If you already do have good intelligence, you can raise your damage while also getting better chances at those shots. That's why I'm using Arcane Synergy Helmet. So for 2 turns, I'll have my spellcasting modifier add to my weapon damage. So this +4 is helping me get those spell effects, but now it's going to be also additional weapon damage. So I'll have to inflict the condition. That's fine. I have ability drain. Okay. Or if I use any kind of arrow that inflicts a condition like blinding, I'll get Arcane Synergy. Ooh, curving shot. Yeah, we just killed somebody. But I did hit him with an effect, so I get Arcane Synergy. So now my weapon damage just went up by +4, okay? Making my regular arrows even better, even stronger. And of course, any other shot I do does more damage while likely, you know, inflicting a condition. Okay, so we'll reload that because then the whole cavalry is going to come in. But you also saw the curving shot. I'm not going to highlight that, but it's a passive you get as you level up into Arcane Archer. It's, you know, debatably pretty good, but if you miss your shot, you can actually make it curve on reaction and hit somebody else, you know, like a citizen. I don't think that's what makes this so powerful. It's not why I'm talking about it, but That's what happened there, okay? So Arcane Acuity is going to raise your chances of getting these powerful effects while attacking. Arcane Synergy, if you've already got good intelligence, you can add more damage, you know, getting further benefits from your intelligence. So I'm going to keep it simple. If you've already skipped ahead to this, I'm going to blow through this unlike the last section. Dex is important. It increases your weapon and attack damage. Let's just keep it simple for there. There's so many things you can do with Dex, but for your case, it's going to give your accuracy an increase, and if you can land your hit, you'll do a lot of damage from your Dex as well, okay? Also, literally look out for pieces of gear that give you actual increases to your accuracy or damage. For instance, these the gloves of archery literally add more damage, and some add more accuracy, so look for that, right? Intelligence, we already talked about this. It raises the chances that you're going to land these powerful effects. You're a spellcaster, so you want to increase your spell DC using your intelligence, but also look for effects that increase your spell save DC flat out, right? Or use Arcane Acuity to do damage and raise your spell save DC while you're doing it, okay? Debuffs lowering enemy saving throw. This could be Bane. This could be Mental Fatigue. It could be Reverb. Look for effects that have powerful debuffs. For instance, Mental Fatigue will make it more likely that you'll lower their wisdom saving throw, making it more effective to land these powerful attacks. So if you know how to use Mental Fatigue, you're debuffing, you can land your stuff. Arcane Acuity helmet. So we already talked about attack, get your spell save DC. This is very powerful. Arcane Synergy. If you have to go with one or the other, because, well, they're both helmet slots, but if you've already got good spell save DC and intelligence, go with Arcane Synergy, add more damage from investing in this intelligence. Initiative, absolutely. Thankfully, you're a Dex character. You should have good initiative. But if you can go first on a team, you can blind, you can beguile, or you can banish first. Your team can take care of the rest on that turn, okay? And special arrows. Just because you ran out of arcane arrows doesn't mean you're not a deadly frickin' slayer with these slayer arrows, the many targets, all this stuff, and elemental arrows. So don't forget, you're also an archer, right? So Titan String, by the way, we're not using because it doesn't apply more damage to the damaging effects of these arrows, okay? If you needed to know that, there's my little spot for it. But Titan String is really powerful regardless if you were investing in strength or using a strength elixir. So I'm not dissing it, I'm just telling you. Build Tim, let's go into Build Tim. Let's break it down for you. You'll see a lot of what I was talking about, so I'll skip right through the details, okay? So 12 Arcane Archer. What you want is 16 Dex because you want to land and do damage with your ranged weapons, okay? 14 Constitution. You should concentrate on stuff. For this build, we need it. We're going to concentrate on Magic Weapon or Blur or whatever scroll we can because we need it for later, but you want some HP, right? And then 16 Intelligence because obviously I want to land my spell effects. In fact, I could actually get this to 20 with the mirror or, you know, if I rearrange some stats, but whatever. 2 Dexterity. We have 4 feats as a 12 fighter. So 2 Dexterity gets you more accuracy. You really want to land your arrows more than anything. Then you want Sharpshooter. You really want to do damage more than anything. Don't forget, you are just a ranged attacker, but you could probably do this second if you wanted to. Just depends your priority. I'm going to go Sharpshooter at level 6. It's going to give me 10 more damage, but I'll have to compensate, you know, the accuracy loss. But 2 Intelligence. Now we're getting into more of a Spellcaster. I'll be up to 18 Intelligence, and then 2 more Dex or 2 more Intelligence. What do you want to do more? Or what can you compensate with your gear, right? So I went with 2 more Dex. I'm up to 20. Now the Deadshot is the best general use longbow. Titan String's awesome. Probably one of the best weapons in the game. Okay? Margal is an awesome legendary. Crossbows like Herald, they're cool. Double crossbows, everybody loves those. But Deadshot gives you double your proficiency bonus when you're attacking. This massively increases your accuracy. 8+ accuracy to your damage. Doesn't hurt that we can get critical rolls a lot easier. Okay, and it's a +2 weapon, and you know, it's a longbow. Okay, this is just a really good general use bow. Rhapsody is insanely good for Arcane Archers. This is probably the best weapon you could put on your Arcane Archer because you are raising your accuracy by +3. You are raising the spell save effect accuracy +3. You are raising the damage on every shot +3. You can't do better than this, okay? Plus you can use a shield, okay? So it's a little one-hander. You can put the shield. You might as well go Sentinel Shield, okay? So Arcane Synergy Hat, again, do Arcane Acuity if you're not confident or you want insane spell save DC, but Arcane Synergy, for my money, I'm going to turn my intelligence into some more bonus damage per shot. Devout Amulet. The Devout Amulet, just showing you, take some flat plus DC and you'll land your effects a lot more reliably, which means you can use this for damage. The Brain Drain, Mental Ring, and Conduit Ring. If I concentrate on, say, Magic Weapon or Blur or whatever, a scroll, right? If I concentrate on something, the Strange Conduit gives me psychic damage. If I hit anybody with psychic damage, they get mental fatigue, making it easier to land wisdom saving throws, okay? But if they fail my saving throws, they get more mental fatigue, and this can really ramp up into more damage, psychic damage, but also guaranteeing that I also land my wisdom saving throws, and other spellcasters can also do that too. So any concentration, just use a scroll. You can use this combo. It's really deadly on this set, okay? You're a debuffer, you're a spellcaster, and you're a damage dealer. You've rolled so much roll compression, okay? Sentinel Shield, I told you, you got Dex, you got good initiative. Let's ramp it up with some 2 armor class and 3 bonus initiative. You'll probably go first in most fight with 8, okay? Ability Drain is so good on Dex, it's insane. But we want to use Ability Drain so every shot typically just resets our Arcane Synergy for the helmet, but it also drains their Dexterity saving throws, right? So if you drain this, every turn you get 1 drain, you can really drain a boss down to its like Dexterity saving throws like crazy, and then you can hit with Dexterity saving throw attacks like Seeking Arrow or Piercing, right? These can land a lot more reliably if you're draining. That way your whole team's benefiting from you being on the team, okay? So without further ado, we'll just get into it one more time. I'll show you the power. We can Beguile. And if you had the right teammate, right, you can Command Halt. Guaranteed, all right? You can banish people to the Shadow Realm. Goodbye. See you next turn, all right? And you can even blind things. It's all very, very, very reliable. And with this build, check out what we're doing, all right? Let's zoom in here. Way too zoomed out. Remember, with this build, we're doing a lot of psychic damage, which could be doubled. I'm not doing it here. But we're doing a lot of weapon damage, and we're causing mental fatigue, making it easier to cast Hold Person or Command or whatnot on this person. So, doing damage, we're controlling the battlefield, and we're casting powerful spells, all rolled into one. Arcane Archer is insane, and you're going to love it. So, how do you play and level up this build? Well, I might be building this myself. Currently, we're testing all new subclasses, 4 of them, no multi-classing, just going straight into it. Arcane Archer is one of the few I chose for the first run, and we play on honor mode so you can see their power at their full potential, hardest part of the game, so you can go play it when patch 8 comes out and know, yeah, I'm playing an Arcane Archer, right? I love answering questions in the comments in the chat, so I hope to see you there. Just let me know. I'm trying to test things for you guys in patch 8, so you know what you want to do when you get the patch yourself, because you guys are my sponsors, so I appreciate you guys for watching. You want to support the channel? Just keep watching. That's the best thing you can do for it. If you want to support it further, I've made it as low as possible on memberships in YouTube, okay? So as always, you guys are awesome. I know this was long, but it was a really good discussion about Arcane Archer. You let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in chat. Have a blessed one, guys.